All right, motherfucks. I have to talk about this for 1 second and 1 second only, right? So, I learned that New Japan started its wrestling once again. This was maybe last month, or who the fuck knows? Who the fuck really cares, right? But point of the matter is this, right? They did their New Japan Cup, which is like a King of the Ring, a single elimination tournament, right? The winner gets a title shot. In this case, the winner gets a title shot at both the World and the Intercontinental title, or the Heavyweight and the Intercontinental title, because the same guy held both titles, Naito. Naito is all right. In terms of New Japan wrestlers, he's one of the better ones because he has something of a personality, right? Now, I think he won most charismatic in like the Dave Meltzer newsletter, which is fucking retarded. He's not charismatic. Maybe he is. I don't speak Japanese. But neither does Dave Meltzer, motherfucks. But the point is, in New Japan, there is a faction called Los Ingobernables de Japón, right? Which is an offshoot of a Mexican stable, which I think is still around. I don't know who the fuck knows, who the fuck cares. The point is what the point is. The way this shit works is like this, right? They have the tournament, and in the tournament, on one side of the bracket, their golden boy, their John Cena, makes it to the finals against like the fourth guy of Los Ingobernables de Japón, right? Against the Dean Malenko of LIJ. So these two guys wrestle, right? And finally, something exciting happens in wrestling. The Dean Malenko beats the John Cena, right? Now, I'm not saying that the guy who won, his name is Evil, by the way. I know. It's a shit name, and he's kind of like weird looking. But Evil is a bigger guy, right, for New Japan, right? He's a stocky dude. He's strong. He's got a look, right? And more importantly, he is the Dean Malenko of LIJ. He's like the fourth guy out of five. You know what I mean? The only person that's comparable to him in recent memory is Jinder Mahal, right? And everybody knows that I loved the Jinder Mahal push. Now, after he wins this, right, he challenges the leader of his stable, right? He challenges the Chris Benoit. Like, it's like Dean Malenko challenging Chris Benoit, except the distance between the two is much greater, right? So he challenges him, and before he does that, he turns on him and joins Bullet Club, right? He leaves his faction and joins Bullet Club before the match. During the match, through help from Bullet Club, he becomes the new double champion of New Japan. Pause. Now, here's where we are. We have a new guy, a Jinder Mahal type dude, who is the number one guy and the number two guy because he holds the top two belts in New Japan. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, who gives a flying fuck? I agree. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because I'm sure he's going to drop it next to like Okada or whoever the fuck they decide is going to be the next big thing. However, it is noteworthy, and it is noteworthy because it is a surprising moment in wrestling. Wrestling is good because wrestling has surprises. That's why people lost their mind when Drew McIntyre ended up eliminating Brock Lesnar and then winning the Rumble in what was considered one of the best Rumbles ever, for a reason, motherfucks. Because Brock Lesnar made it amazing, and then Drew McIntyre took over at a certain point, and then he became the guy to win and then win at WrestleMania. Now, follow through is important. Drew McIntyre, after winning, he has been presented as a legitimate champion. He has been presented as a guy who should have always been champion. That's the problem. Evil, on the other hand, is presented as an opportunist who got lucky a few times, had to turn on his friend in order to become champion, right? And hopefully this leads into a great title run for Evil. And the reason why I hope this is because it is refreshing. This is how you make a star, right? You make a star, you take them out of nowhere, you have them win a couple of high-profile matches, and then hopefully you have them squash people. It's easy to do with a Drew McIntyre because you can just look at Drew McIntyre and you can pretty much surmise that Drew McIntyre is capable of beating anyone in the world, right? He has a shot at beating anyone in the world. Let's be real. I don't give a fuck. If it's him against Brock Lesnar in a real fight, of course Brock Lesnar would probably win. But if they fought 30 times, Drew would win one of them. You know what I'm saying? Drew would do the same to Daniel Cormier. He would do the same to Stipe Miocic. He would be able to beat up any kind of person once in a while because of his strength, size, and athleticism. He's a big, strong, young motherfucker. So it's believable that he can be the champion of anything. That's why he's cool. Evil, on the other hand, not so much. In New Japan, maybe because everyone is like 5'3" there, but that's about it, motherfuckers. So that's what I'm getting at, right? In order to do good booking, WWE and AEW need to take a page out of the book of New Japan. Why? I'll explain once again, and I'll explain it with more, examples and expounding on the theory, right? And giving you an example of how AEW, for example, could do this, right? It looked like they were going to try to do it with Brian Cage, but it didn't work. Ultimately, they decided to stick with Moxley. Here's the problem, right? When you continuously push people like Cody Rhodes and Jon Moxley as your two top guys, and neither of them is anything more than a mid-carder, right? Jon Moxley without the Shield is a nobody. Jon Moxley without the Shield is EC3. That's his capacity. He has that capacity to get over by himself. He's not inherently interesting, right? He might at best be Luke Harper. That's his limit, right? He's not good enough to be a WWE champion. He became one because the Shield was the Shield. That's the problem. They have taken this mid-card jobber and made him the #1 guy. Cody Rhodes, enough said. Easily the most overrated wrestler of all time is Cody Rhodes. I don't even think there's any debate about that, right? This guy is not charismatic. He's not exciting. He looks like shit. He's got like a stupid haircut and a dumbass tattoo. So, but you make these guys the two top guys, right? And then you have a match, Cody Rhodes versus Sonny Kiss, right? And you know Sonny Kiss has no chance. But what if Sonny Kiss won? Now, Sonny Kiss wouldn't be a good choice because Sonny Kiss is not a heel type character. But imagine if it was him versus, I don't know, Trent Beretta. And Trent Beretta beat, or Daniels. And Daniels beats Cody Rhodes and turns heel. Right? He becomes the undisputed leader of SCU and they all turn heel. That would be good. Or he leaves SCU and joins the Death Triangle. And then become the Death Rectangle. Fuck it, you know? You do this kind of shit, right? You can put someone over so quickly like that. Someone that hasn't had an opportunity. Someone that's decent in the ring, but is someone that is good on the mic and has charisma, like Daniels, right? Not necessarily Trent, but maybe like Pac or someone like that, right? You push these guys to the moon because they're good, right? You don't waste your time with Cody Rhodes and Dean Ambrose. Who the fuck cares? Like, that's the problem, motherfuckers. When they do these things with Jinder Mahal and Evil, part of you believes, you're like, holy shit. It's almost believable that Jinder Mahal is great and has been held down by shit booking. Because he cut some great promos. He has the facial expressions on lock. Jinder Mahal is also someone, not so much as Drew, but someone that is believable in that he could beat up nearly everyone in the world. There's a possibility. I mean, I'm not saying it's likely, right? Jinder Mahal versus, Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier knocks him out 99 out of 100 times. But there will be one time when Jinder Mahal will get lucky, and he will get a lucky punch in, and he might knock out Daniel Cormier, right? Whereas, Finn Balor never will. Like, it's just not possible. It's not physically, humanly possible. So that's what I'm saying, motherfuckers. Like, you need champions that are credible and believable. And that's what they did with Evil. They took someone who you would never expect to win this tournament, and they had him win the tournament. It would be like having King of the Ring in 2000 and having Eddie Guerrero become the King of the Ring instead of Kurt Angle, or whatever the fuck it was, right? Kurt Angle, I think it was. Or 1999, whatever. The one that Kurt Angle won, that had 1 million people. If Eddie Guerrero won that, you'd be like, holy shit, this guy just won a tournament, like a 32-person tournament. He's the top guy out of these 32. You know what I'm saying? It's a huge accomplishment. So that skyrockets him into a main event type guy. It's like the Royal Rumble, If someone wins the Rumble, no one ever argues, oh, he got lucky. Like it's never presented as the guy that wins the Rumble gets lucky. So that's why it's important to use these tournaments or Royal Rumbles or Money in the Banks to put over someone that's ready to get put over, right? We thought Drew McIntyre was ready to get put over, but let's be real. This has been a shit and a dry title run. I don't care at all. I can't wait till SummerSlam for Randy Orton to hopefully beat him. And then Drew McIntyre can fade into obscurity. He can go back to the mid-card where he belongs. Let's be real, motherfuckers. Drew McIntyre looks like $1 million, but he has zero personality. His personality is, I like to fight. Like I'm an honorable champion all of a sudden. The guy that was always on his knees flipping his hair is now an honorable champion. No, fam. Whereas someone like Lashley is believable. It's like, holy shit, this guy's like a no-nonsense type motherfucker, He'll fucking put that full Nelson on you, beat the shit out of you. He's credible. That's what we need. We do not need this kind of horseshit. So, in my opinion, AEW and WWE can learn a lot from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And if they do, they have an opportunity to become great. That's all there is to it. You need to surprise me, number one. You need to surprise me. Seeing Cody Rhodes beat fucking Sonny Kiss and the guy whose name I forgot, he reminds me of Flip Gordon, but it's some other guy, like Rick Starks or some jobber name. Like, he beat Sonny Kiss, Rick Starks, Jungle Boy. Who the fuck cares? Why am I supposed to give a shit? None of that is surprising. Oh, he beat Jack Swagger. That's not surprising either. Jack Swagger's a jobber. You know what I'm saying? If it was like Cody Rhodes, and he was losing and losing and losing, and he goes and beats Moxley, that'd be something else. You know what I'm saying? That'd be something else. That's what we want to see. Cody Rhodes, by pretending that he's made the sacrifice of never challenging for the world title, has put himself in a very comfortable position. Win every week and pretend to put people over. people that you'll never see again. I don't know about you motherfuckers, but I don't think we're gonna see Rick Starks on AEW anytime soon as like a big deal. He's gonna reach like a Jungle Boy level. You know, in AEW, there's only like 5 wrestlers, 5 entities. The Elite, all those guys, all those 4 guys, excluding Adam Page, those guys, and Dean Ambrose at this point. Even Jericho has fallen to the side. That's what I gotta say about that. You need some excitement. You know, now it looks like the next feud is Darby Allin versus Dean Ambrose. Imagine if Darby Allin beat Dean Ambrose, right? You'd be like, holy shit, I never expected that, right? Except the problem is, Darby Allin is just a shit champion. He would make a shit champion. But imagine if you had like Ty Dillinger, right? Someone who's relatively big. He goes, he wrestles Dean Ambrose in an open, like, you know, open challenge type situation, and he pins him clean. How sick would that be? That would be like, holy shit. Maybe this guy, maybe there is something there. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when, like in TNA, right? We had AJ Styles when he was the Prince of Phenomenal, right? He was like basically a jobber. He was reduced to a jobber, like being like Kurt Angle and Christian's lackey, right? The writing was on the wall. This was the opportunity to put AJ Styles over, and that's what they did. But imagine if before that, to make him realize that he is, you know, like a great wrestler, but that he's lost his way, you have him versus Shark Boy. Maybe not Shark Boy, like Petey Williams, right? Petey Williams comes out, or Chris Sabin comes out and says, hey, I beat AJ Styles when AJ Styles was X Division champion. And Petey Williams and these people, the X Division was like nothing back then, right? And he comes out and he says, I want to wrestle AJ Styles. He thinks he's the Prince of Phenomenal. I'm going to beat his ass. And then you have Sanjay Dutt, or whoever you choose, beat AJ Styles clean. AJ Styles is still a former TNA champion. He's still like their number 1 guy in many ways, right? But you have him lose. Then begins the story of redemption that AJ Styles had 5 times in his TNA career, right? Then he's like, no, I'm AJ Styles. He goes, he starts from the bottom, beats Shark Boy, like in great matches. He has great matches with people, right? Then beats Petey Williams, then goes beats Kurt Angle at whatever, Slammiversary, or whatever the fuck, Bound for Glory, whatever it was, right? That would be good. That's what they need to do. Either build a person like that or give me surprises, right? Give me surprises. And and I mean meaningful ones, not Apollo Crews as US champion. Give me a surprise like Drew McIntyre says, I'm doing an open challenge, right? And fucking Adam Cole debuts and beats him. Something like that. Something like, holy shit, what the fuck just happened? You know, I didn't expect this to happen at all. The guy that beat Brock Lesnar lost to Bobby Fish. You know, something like that. Something that makes you think twice. You're like, holy shit, like what is going on here? That's what New Japan did. And even though I think New Japan is overrated, I have to give credit where credit's due, right? The amount of like options that having Evil become double champion creates is insane, right? Because when you have a champion who's never been champion before, when you have like a Jinder Mahal, you know, you're like, oh, now I can do Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton again. I can do Jinder versus AJ Styles. I can do Jinder versus John Cena, right? And these are fresh matchups, right? And a lot of people have a claim to the title, right? So if Drew McIntyre was around, he could be like, wait, hold on a second. I'm the guy that was a jobber with you. Well, give me a shot, right? Randy Orton is like, yo, you beat me, but you cheated. Give me a shot, right? Sami Zayn, who he beat in the 6-man match to become number 1 contender, says, yo, you got lucky. Give me a shot, right? It opens up doors. When there are no doors open, you are forced to see things like the horror swamp match, Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt, who is reverting back to his shit gimmick. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I gotta say about that. And now, I leave you guys with this, motherfuckers. You can always learn from even inferior people, inferior competitions. You can learn from New Japan. New Japan learned from WWE by making Bullet Club, and WWE can learn from New Japan by having surprises, even though they stole it from Jinder Mahal. But you understand what I'm saying, motherfuckers?